So, hey guys, I almost got my first overdraft fee this past weekend, and I managed to avoid paying an overdraft fee. And I want to share with you guys, first of all, I want to share with you guys why it's so important to check your accounts on a regular basis and what to do if you find yourself in a position where you've actually accidentally uh, paid too many bills and you don't have enough money in that account. Now, this is easy to avoid if you have money in other accounts like a savings account at Ally, or if you have money in a different account, you can avoid it. And I'm going to share with you guys how we managed to avoid it. So, hey guys, if you are new here, my name is Susan Velez. And on this channel, we talk about making money, saving money, investing money, and taking care of our health so that we can catch up for retirement, especially if you are late to saving for retirement like me. So yeah, I checked our new bank account that we just switched to, and there was two payments getting ready to clear, and we didn't have a balance in there that was big enough that was going to pay both of those payments. We would have ended up $38 short, which would have triggered an overdraft fee. And I want to share with you guys how we managed to avoid this in case you find yourself in a situation like we did. And first, let me share with you guys how we ended up in this situation. So usually, guys, I know which payments come out of which checks. We have to know what to pay on what check and then the next thing to pay on the next check, because we don't pay, two of our payments are pretty big for our income and we don't pay them on the same pay period. So we always have one pay period for one payment and then another pay period for another pay period, or another payment for another pay period. But I did make a mistake because we actually just went through the whole changing banks situation, and changing banks is a pain, especially if you use that bank for a lot of things. But we just moved from Wells Fargo to a credit union, and I want to share with you guys why we did this. So if you've been reading a lot of the finance news, you've noticed that Chase wants to increase their fees. They want to take their fees up because apparently they want more profits from their customers. So we figured that since Chase was thinking about increasing their fees, Wells Fargo, since it is a big bank, would probably be right behind their heels and look for ways to increase their profits and probably increase their fees. Now, we've been with Wells Fargo's, or my partner has been with Wells Fargo for quite a while, and we've never had any issues with them. I know a lot of people say they have a lot of horror stories when it comes to Wells Fargo. We've never had any issues. There was one thing that happened to us about 3 months ago where they did charge us a fee of $5. I noticed it when I logged into the checking account, and I noticed a $5 fee. My partner got online to find out what it was, and what that $5 fee was. It was because we didn't have a certain balance in our way to save savings account. So if you're not familiar with Wells Fargo, how they do it with the bank account that we had, what they did was whenever you use your debit card to pay for something, they'd round up to the nearest dollar and then take that change from the roundup and put it in the way to save. Well, the whole time they never had a minimum balance that you had to carry in the way to save. So we never kept a lot of savings in there. Whenever it started accumulating to a decent size from the roundup, we would push that money, we'd pull that money out of our way to save account and push it into Goldman Sachs, because the interest at Goldman Sachs was a lot better than Wells Fargo paid. Well, apparently I wasn't keeping up with the whole information that they were sending out, and I don't know when they changed that way to save that you had to have a minimum. I don't know what the minimum was. All I know is that we didn't meet the minimum requirement in that way to save, and so therefore they charged us a $5 fee from the checking account. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I think that because I have my money in a checking account and savings account, I shouldn't have to pay just to have my money in a bank account, especially today, guys. There's tons of banks that you can bank with that don't require you to pay any type of fees. And if you're holding your money in a checking and savings account and that bank is using that money when you're not using it, there's no reason that you should have to pay to have your money in that bank account. So that kind of pissed me off when they charged us $5. We did manage to get that $5 waived But it made me realize that if they're going to charge us $5 for not having a minimum balance in that way to save, when they're not paying us any interest, why would I want to keep money in that savings account when we're not earning anything? So we moved we closed Wells Fargo down and we moved to a credit union. And let me tell you, if you've ever changed a bank, it can be a pain when you have to change your direct deposits. You have to change everything that gets tied to that credit or to that bank, whether it's payments for a credit card or all your payments have to go and you have to remove them from the old bank and add them to the new bank. So it can be a pain. And I understand why banks do the fees, because a lot of people don't want to go to the hassle of changing banks. But we did. We just closed the Wells Fargo account this past weekend, got the balance the balance that zeroed out, and we just closed that account online. So it was easy to close once you get everything else moved over. And now we bank with the credit union, or my partner banks with the credit union, and everything's good, except during this whole movement of things, I completely forgot about a $400 direct payment or auto payment of $400 to Edward Jones, and had paid the $750 that we pay in the rent. So both of those were clearing at the same time. And when I happened to log into the credit union account this past weekend, I noticed that both those payments were pending for today, Monday, the 23rd, and there wasn't going to be enough money. We were going to be $38 short, and that meant that we would have been thrown into overdrafting our checking account. And I don't know about you guys, but like I said, I don't like paying banks any fees. And so I started stressing. I mean, I was like, we've never paid an overdraft fee. I don't want to pay an overdraft fee. What can we do to get rid of this overdraft fee? And especially since it was the weekend, guys, it's not like we could just walk into the bank or into the credit union and give them cash to make sure that it doesn't overdraft the $38. So I thought we were screwed. We were going to go to the ATM, take the money and deposit it. And we didn't know whether that was an instant, if it would actually post to the account that same day, which would have been Sunday, if that would have posted. And then Monday, when those payments cleared, if that would have prevented the overdraft. And then I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and transfer the money from Goldman Sachs, but Goldman Sachs probably won't be in there till Tuesday morning or Monday midnight. And is that going to be enough time to ensure that that money is in the account before those two payments clear? So anyway, long story short, what I did was I did a Zelle payment. So if you don't know what a Zelle payment is it's an app or a payment method that allows you to instantly pay somebody that you know. Now, if you ever use Zelle payment, you want to make sure that you use it just for somebody that you know. You don't want to use it to pay anything that you buy on Facebook, Marketplace, Craigslist, or any of these marketplaces online, because that payment comes out instantly. So once you send that payment, you can never get it back. So you want to make sure that you don't use it for somebody that can scam you or anything like that. So what I realized is that this past weekend when we used Zelle, I realized that I couldn't use Zelle with my Goldman Sachs, but I could use it with my Charles Schwab account. And then we also have a savings account with Ally. So I ended up Zelling the payment or the savings from the Ally payment to my Charles Schwab. And then we did it into the credit union. It was a whole thing that I had to jump through a big bunch of hoops. And it was just a pain in the butt to do that. But if you ever get to a point where you feel like you are overdrafting something or something's getting ready to clear, and for some reason you just overlooked it on your budget, or for whatever reason, guys, we're humans. We're bound to make mistakes. I don't care what you do. We are human, and there are mistakes that are going to happen. Most of us, for the most part, we do the best that we can with our finances, but sometimes we overlook something. But if you ever run into that situation where your banking account or your checking account is short, it's the weekend, you can't run to the bank and deposit some money so that way something doesn't clear and throw you into overdraft, you can use Zelle. And Zelle is very easy to use. Many banks will have the Zelle app inside of the actual dashboard of the bank that you can use to Zelle into another account. Like if your partner or your spouse or whatever, if you use different banks and somebody that you know or somebody that you love is short on cash and preventing an overdraft fee, you can instantly Zelle that money into that account to prevent an overdraft fee. Because I don't know about you, but I don't want to pay a bank overdraft fees. And if you can easily Zelle something from one account to another to prevent that, it's definitely worth it. And the great thing, guys, is that Zelle doesn't charge any fees. I've used it several times to Zelle from one bank account to another, and I've never been charged any fees. So I'm not exactly sure how Zelle makes their money, but it makes it very convenient to avoid overdraft fees. And that's the first time we've ever used Zelle to or prevent an overdraft fee. But you can bet that if it ever happens again, which hopefully it won't, I'm going to make sure that I take better care of the finances. But like I said, we were in the transition of changing from bank to bank, and I just overlooked that payment. So luckily we avoided an overdraft fee. So if this has ever happened to you guys, don't overlook a Zelle. And also, if your bank provides you overdraft fees, you might, or overdraft protection, guys, not overdraft fees, but overdraft protection, you might want to consider paying for that overdraft protection. Because like I said, we are human. It does happen sometimes. And if your bank doesn't have Zelle, you can still use the Zelle app. You can download the Zelle app and add your debit card, so that way you can Zelle from one bank account to another. But sometimes I think that I wish I would have got the overdraft protection, but I didn't think that, we've never had this issue, so I didn't think that we needed it. But like I said, guys, sometimes it is better to pay for that overdraft protection. But like I said, if you don't want to pay for that overdraft protection, just make sure that your banks allow you to use Zelle, or that you know how to use Zelle. That way, if the time ever comes and you need to Zelle yourself money from one account to another to prevent an overdraft fee, then it's definitely worth it. And also, most credit unions, if we have a little bit of money in our savings account, that if we ever run into this issue again, we can automatically just push from our savings account that is attached to our checking account into the checking account. So that way we don't ever have to worry about overdrafting anything. The only thing is, guys, if we do have a little bit of money in our savings account in the credit union, I want to make sure that it's not too much, because like I said, most checking accounts or regular savings accounts do not pay a lot of interest. But I think that sometimes it's worth leaving just a little bit of money in a savings account that is attached to your checking account. That way you can avoid overdraft fees. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to share with you guys how we managed to avoid an overdraft fee and why I think it's so important to check your checking account on a regular or daily basis. Because like I said, we are human. We do make mistakes. You want to make sure that you are making your bill payments on time, and you want to avoid any type of fees that the banks may charge you. And if you're not checking your account on a regular basis, they may be charging you a fee and you just don't catch it. Like with Wells Fargo, guys, remember I told you that they charged us a $5 fee. If I wasn't in that checking account on a daily basis, I wouldn't have noticed that $5 fee. So you want to make sure that you are not getting charged any unnecessary fees. You are making your payments on time, and make sure that you're not making any human errors like me that can kind of mess up your whole paying on time and keeping your checking account in balance. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Click on that subscribe button so that you can be notified whenever I put out a new video. And until next time, guys, I will talk to you later. Have a great day. And don't forget to join me on my journey of reaching a net worth of $500,000 so that we can retire with dignity. And until next time, guys, I will talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye.